Hey guys, it's Aman and Christina from the Our Rich Journey podcast, where we answer your questions about saving, making, and investing money for financial independence and retiring early. Today, we are answering such an interesting question from a caller. They want to know, how do we handle the FIRE haters? How do we handle the people that are critical about you pursuing financial independence and retiring early? But before we get to that question, let's just talk about this weather in Portugal. It has been so strange. I mean, it's like 80 degrees one week, and now this week it is raining.
Right.
But you love the rain, though, Christina.
I do love the rain. And what's weird, though, is that 2 days ago, I had said, oh, I just love sitting at home when it's raining at night. You know, after we've gotten in from all the basketball, tennis practice, everything, we're sitting at home and then it just starts raining so hard. And then when I said that night, it happened. I was like, oh, this is weird. This is really weird. Because it hadn't rained for a while.
Oh, no. It was very dry for a while, and now we're getting, the rain is amazing. I love the rain. It is kind of like the prerequisite before we use our fireplace too.
Yes.
Right? We just got this new fireplace cover installed last year at the end of winter, so we didn't really get a chance to utilize it. But I'd love it when it rains and then it's also cold enough to start a fire in the fireplace. Girl, we get some marshmallows. It'll feel like we camping.
Well, can I tell one thing though, is that I do love using the fireplace, but there is a walk that we need to do to get the firewood from the shed.
Oh my goodness.
And the shed is always kept locked, right? It's closed.
Yes.
Nothing gets in the shed, but it can be sort of dark and dreary when you go inside the shed. So if you hear a noise, you're like, what is that? What just happened?
Okay, so our shed is
You see where I'm going with this, right?
You talking about what happened to me the other day. So I go down to the shed and it's starting to get dark. The sun is going down because I want to start collecting my wood.
Okay.
And the shed is very far from our house. But I'm in the shed and I swear something was moving in there. But it wasn't like a small movement, like a bug movement.
Okay.
It was like someone was living in their movement, like something big was moving. And you know me, I'm not going to sit around and ask questions. So I ran back up to the house. I said, hey, be careful when we go down to the shed. But yes, we have a very scary shed. We could probably do a whole podcast, like a scary movie theme just on the shed. But let's answer this question. We got to get to the question.
Okay, we'll get to the question. But before we get to the question, I just have to round out the story of the shed and let everyone know that you came back with 2 pieces of wood. Our shed has so much wood in there. He came back with 2 pieces. So that's just...
It wasn't worth the walk. 2 pieces was not worth the walk. But
okay, that is a tangent.
If you were in my situation, you wouldn't have gotten any, Christina.
True. Okay, so let's get to this question. It is from a caller who is asking about how to deal with people close to him that are critical to the FIRE movement. But before we get to this question, before we actually play this question, I want everyone to know that if you're interested in us also answering one of your questions, you can call in and leave your question and then we can play it for a future episode. So if you're interested in leaving a question, you can go to ourrichjourney.com/podcast to submit your question. Now let's listen to this question so we can get to the answer.
How do you deal with people whom you share your FIRE journey with and they don't believe in your journey and or they have tried it before somehow, some way, but they took high risk, but it never worked out for them. So therefore they kind of put your idea down, or they're so critical of your idea of FIRE that they want to know your X, Y, and Z, but you're still just starting or just trying to figure it out still.
Wow, this is such an interesting question because he is dealing with something that we had to deal with a lot on our journey. You know, we had to deal with the FIRE haters, with the firefighters is what I like to call them. They're the kind of people that will put the flame out when you come to them with this great idea, right? You are so excited. And, you know, when you're new to this pursuit, sometimes you can be too overzealous and tell the wrong people, right? Because you're running around, you're telling everyone about how you're pursuing this, how you're going to retire in 10 years, how you're going to retire before 40, before 30. And sometimes it just sounds a little crazy, right? Because a lot of people don't understand the concept of FIRE, the concept that you are going to have enough money in your investment accounts to sustain you for the rest of your life. Right? There's so much to this concept because you're talking about investing in the stock market, you're talking about investing in real estate, and you're talking about doing this over a relatively short period of time that is supposed to get you enough money to last you the rest of your life. And when you tell this to people, they don't understand anything about how you're changing your savings rate, how you're going to be side hustling, how you're looking at your expenses, you're budgeting better, you're prioritizing things. They don't understand that in the background, you're doing this complete 180. I mean, for us on our journey, we used to joke about how we were becoming stealthy wealthy, right? Because we were doing all of these things in the background and no one really knew what we were doing until we started talking about it on our YouTube channel. But no one really knew that we were amassing all of this money that would allow us to retire early.
Yeah, I know. I think the thing that you have to think about when you're pursuing FIRE is that it's such a novel and unique thing. The majority of people don't even know about it in the first place. So the idea that you're telling someone you're going to retire early and you're going to do it because you're investing in all of these different assets or in these categories. Another thing is that people aren't taught to invest. They don't learn about it in high school. Most times they don't even learn about it in college. It's like they get their first job and then they're introduced to a 401k and somehow they're supposed to figure out what to do with it. So a lot of people, when you're talking to them about the FIRE movement, they're being introduced to it for the first time from you. And then they're also being introduced to it from this concept of, yes, I'm learning how to invest. I'm putting all my money into index funds and ETFs. And do you know about the S&P 500? People are like, wait, this doesn't seem like this is something that can actually be achieved. But coming from that, I think you have to really assess the type of person that is being critical of your journey, because it can be very different if that person is your spouse versus it's someone who is your coworker that you can't stand.
Yes, I love that. I love that example because what's funny is it totally depends on the dynamic that you have with that person. I'm glad that you pointed that out. And so I think what you have to do is, like anything important in your life that you're going to share with someone, you have to be careful who you share this with. This is a very important and personal thing that you bring up. There are so many things that are involved in this that people are going to start to question about your life that you have to be careful how you open that can of worms up with. But I also think there is an opportunity to get good critical feedback from people that you can use to strengthen your FIRE journey.
I absolutely agree. I think when you're on your FIRE journey, you don't always have to surround yourself with people that are 100% supportive of that journey, because you may not necessarily grow in your journey because of that. When you're getting critical feedback from people, you can develop your journey even more. But again, it goes back to, who is that person that's giving you that feedback? If that person is just a negative person that doesn't want you to succeed, that's not someone that you necessarily have to interact with. But let's say it's a positive person. It's your spouse. It's a best friend. It's a parent. It's whoever it is, someone that you truly care about and you care about their opinion. They're coming to you from a place where they do want you to succeed, but they don't understand the process. So when they're being critical of the process, it can help you fine-tune your own process, your journey, so that you can explain to them, this is how I'm investing. This is how I should be investing in order to get to my goal. This is why I'm saving my money like this. This is why I'm spending my money like this. A lot of times we talk to people on our channel, people in our course, we talk about the importance of having a mentor, but we also stress the importance of having a mentee, someone that you can teach about the FIRE journey or about saving and making and investing money. And when people are critical of your journey, people that you really value their opinion, you can almost treat them like they're your mentee. You're teaching them about FIRE. And when you're doing this, when you're teaching them about FIRE, you're actually learning about it more yourself as well. And that's why having a mentee is so important. Now, this person, this caller, said that he's at the beginning stages. And I think it doesn't matter what stage you're at. You're always accumulating more information. You're always gaining more financial literacy. That should be the goal, to grow more and more with your information. We are still learning more information. We're still studying information about FIRE and about investing. And so by having someone that's critical of your process, you can actually inform them better by becoming more familiar with the process yourself, which will help you. And then it could potentially help others as well.
And you know, Christina, I totally agree with that. I think that is an amazing strategy to teach people about FIRE and for you to also get smart about FIRE. But my main concern with people that are negative is that after a while, it begins to wear on you. Subconsciously, you start to absorb that negative energy that they are putting out whenever you start to talk about this subject. I mean, you could explain to them every in and out. You could present to them the tightest financial independence, retire early plan that you have, and they will still be skeptical of it. They will bring up wild card things that you can't begin to have an argument with these people about. They are just being unreasonable. You know me. I don't like to waste my time with people. I will get my point across, I will hear them, and if I see that we're not seeing eye to eye, I will move on, especially when it comes to something in this respect. Because what you have to realize is that your growth and your goal are not always going to align with someone else's. You are going to be doing a complete change when you pursue something like this. I'm talking about 180. So the person that you were before you started pursuing FIRE is not going to be the same person that you are as you pursue this journey. You are going to be doing things that are unorthodox, right? You are going to be prioritizing how you spend your time, how you spend your money. And for a lot of people, they're going to start to see you in a completely different light. Now, some people may like that, but some people, it may make them feel uncomfortable because it starts to call into question how they're living their life. You know, once we achieved financial independence and we retired early, I'm sure there were a lot of people that were very happy for us. But at the same time, I bet there were also people that were rooting against us the whole time and they were unhappy to see us pursue this. And probably still to this day, they're hoping that we one day fail at financial independence. There are just going to be those kind of people that are in your life, that are on the peripherals of your life, and you have to recognize that you're not going to make everyone happy. You can't answer everyone's questions. At a certain point, you just got to move on.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I think there is a balance of really understanding the people that are trying to help you and then just people that are just negative in general. There is a time where you can take to just stop explaining and just keep continuing to take your own action and continuing to move forward. There were people in our lives where we told them something and it was just complete negativity about the FIRE journey. And then that was the end. We didn't even want to say, okay, we're going to take you on as a mentee. We're going to explain things to you. It was like, okay, this is not the direction that we want to go. We're going to go towards this positivity, moving forward, taking action. And we're going to leave that negativity behind. So if you find that you're sitting in negativity, just trying to explain to people that are so critical of the process, you just have to push that out. You have to focus on the positivity and surround yourself with more positive people because that's what's going to help you on your journey.
I mean, that is so critical. It is about the energy that you surround yourself with. And I know this is going to sound all soft and metaphysical and all these different things, but it's really true. You know, when you wake up every day and you have someone telling you that you are going to do great things today, you have a higher chance of doing those things that day. But if someone is constantly telling you, oh, watch out for this, or don't do that, or be careful about this, then you don't do anything. You stay stagnant and still. And with FIRE in particular, people can bring up so many things that can scare you. What happens if the stock market crashes? What are you going to do about healthcare? What happens about, if you run out of money? It's like all of these things that they could continue to harp on, and you may not ever even get started. Of course, there is an answer to all of these questions. And maybe you don't have all the answers right then and there, but it's a process. You're on a journey. You are going to eventually get there. And that's why we are sharing our story, is so that we can show people an example of things that they can do in order to finally achieve this.
So there's one other element to this question that I want to address, because we talked about the different types of people that could be critical, because FIRE is sort of a new concept. Not everyone knows about it. So they can be critical in a good way, that they still want you to succeed, or they're just a hater. But in any case, they don't really know about the FIRE movement. Now, this caller also asked about people that he's dealing with that attempted FIRE and then failed. He said, how do I deal with those types of people?
That's a very interesting situation, because not many people have even gotten to that point. And so I think it's a good opportunity to learn from those people. What were the mistakes that they made? If they're having a conversation with this person, they say, hey, I tried to pursue FIRE and it didn't work, or I achieved FIRE and then the whole thing fell apart because of X, Y, and Z, then that's an opportunity to learn from those people to help tighten up your plan. If someone is going to tell you that you shouldn't pursue FIRE because they failed, I think you have a right to ask them, well, why did you fail, right? And help me out so that I don't make those same mistakes. I'm sure this person isn't going to say, hey, it is impossible to achieve FIRE, because that is absolutely not true. There are thousands and thousands of people that have achieved financial independence. Regular people. I mean, we hear from them every single day.
Yeah, so I love that. I love the idea that just because someone fails doesn't mean that you're going to fail also. It means it's a learning opportunity for you to gather more information. What happened? Why didn't it work out for them? This caller specifically said that someone that was talking to him about failing in FIRE, they said that the reason why they failed is because they had risky investments. And so that is definitely something to take advantage of, that information that that person learns, because a huge element of achieving FIRE is investing. You have to know how to invest. You have to up your financial literacy game. So when people that you're talking with, if they attempted FIRE and they weren't successful, learn from them. Find out why they were not successful, and then see if you should be implementing any of these different strategies into your FIRE journey because of what you learned from that person. So we threw a lot of stuff out there, again, mostly because we don't know the types of people that you're dealing with. People can be very critical, but for many different reasons. So hopefully that really answered your question, and it will help you figure out how to deal with different people in your life that are critical of your FIRE journey. Now, for all of you listening out there, if you guys have questions about your FIRE journey, please call and leave a message for us. You can go to ourrichjourney.com/podcast to leave us a question so that we can address that in a future episode. And until then, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you leave a review for our podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Remember that we are not financial advisors, and the views expressed by us are solely for entertainment purposes. You must make responsible decisions, and that means making decisions based on the thorough, independent research that you conduct. Thanks for listening.